So there was this really good psychological lesson that I learned in prison. We had this area called the TC unit, therapeutic community, and it was for all the people that had real drug problems, you know. And the thing was, you had to do this program for 6 months, and then you could be eligible for parole if you didn't have any more programs, and then, if your minimum was up. But it was a 6 month program. Basically, they were stuck on this block. They could not communicate with anybody else in the prison. Only the people on their block. If they got caught talking to somebody that wasn't on their block, they'd get kicked off the block and then probably have to wait another 6 months to a year to get back in. And they completely isolated these people within a prison, you know, 2,500 people, and there was, I would say, maybe 100 of them, but they would keep them isolated from everybody else. And one of the things that somebody told me from that blog, because I was supposed to do it too, and they ended up telling me, well, you'd never make it through that program. We're just going to completely wipe it off your uh, requirements. I thought, hell yeah. Still ended up maxing out. But so when this guy tells me, if somebody on this block does anything at all to break the rules, they get kicked off. And this is even small rules, anything, like talking to somebody that's not on your block. And then he tells me, if somebody sees you doing something and they don't tell and it's found out that they knew, they're kicked off too. So you see where I'm getting at with this. You know, gotta be, whew, okay, stay within the lines, stay within the lines. So the screwed up thing about this was that you could have somebody that had a max of 20 years with a minimum of, let's say, five, right? And they're coming up on their five. They're doing their program, you know, and let's say they make a stupid little mistake, but these people, they don't care because it's a drug program. So let's say they hadn't seen a friend in 20 years, and now they're in there. They're going to have that urge to talk to this person. Now somebody else sees them talking to this person, and then there's a third person that sees these people, or they're caught on camera, let's say, and only the third person tells, but also saw the other person see them, because let's say they were, those three were friends, and this person over here, they're seeing it all go down, and then they go to the COs and, oh yeah, this person was talking to this person, and it's like, why? I could see if they were doing crack. I mean, some people's personalities, that's the thing about people, is you don't know who's gonna pick the morally right option. I mean, there is no damage to you being done at all, but you're being pressured by the fact that if you don't tell, you can get kicked off too, and that's irritating to me, because it opens the door for more mistrust. And that's the thing about human complexity, is that trying to figure out what is morally right. So when you don't have those weights on top of you, but you're literally going at, like Karens. Oh, kids will be running through the front yard. Hey, that's a private yard. Like, get off their yard. It's like, they're kids. I get, if they're 5 steps into this yard, Who cares? Now, if they're breaking in the sheds, okay, stuff's expensive, you know. And if you don't stop them, they'll do it to other people. Yeah, I get it, you know. And eventually, they start getting careless, and then they end up getting caught. You know, that's how we are. But the complexity of this situation always mind boggles me because it's like people are programmed by each other. So if a bunch of people don't trust other people, or they only trust this one person, then this person that doesn't have anybody is going to look at this person like, you have the advantage. You have people that you can trust, and here you're going to, you know, call the cops because my dog is barking. And I've actually had a cousin that his girlfriend lived 2 houses down and called the cops on him because his dog was barking. And it's like, whatever ship brought me to this world, that ship must have been made by Neanderthals, because this world is freaking strange, man. You know, my whole life I have had visions. I've seen had predictions, and a lot of things about a lot of people that irk me, and a lot of things about me that irk myself. You know, it's like we're nothing but a damn cat's cradle. You know, you can't choose right or wrong, and if you ask different people, you're gonna get different opinions. But people also have that tendency to build up. You know, oh, some kid will steal candy from the store, and I've done that quite a few times. Hell, I even took a few packs of cigarettes out of a Quality in Corey once, and when I was like 10, because my buddy showed me how to do it, and all I did was steal them and gave them away. And then this person working at the store calls my dad and says, "Yeah, I saw your boy taking cigarettes. They're right on the end of the cash registers. Like, people couldn't even see them. It's where the you got the candy, and then outside of the cash registers, on the ends facing the aisles, you had the cigarettes. So they weren't behind no counters or nothing. And I got so comfortable with taking candy and cigarettes that it wasn't until that call that I thought, yeah, I'm just going to stick to stealing candy. Nobody noticed that. But the point is, nobody actually caught me. So it just kept building up, building up, building up, until one day I saw all these kids break this window, and in this building, and the building wasn't being lived in or nothing. And so all these kids, they threw a rock in the window, and I saw it, and I'm like, oh man, that looks like fun. No idea why. It just sounded fun, right? So here I am smashing out every damn window. And this kid ends up telling on me to the cops, whatever. Back then I couldn't understand it, but obviously once I became older, I did. And my dad ended up getting fined $600, and he wakes me up one night in the middle of the night and says, "Did you break those windows?" No. And he knew I was tired. So he says, "Okay, I believe you, and go back to bed." Well, then 20 years later, I told him I was down in North Carolina with him. I'm sitting in the truck on the way to a job, and I said, remember when they said I broke all of them windows? He says, "Yeah, that pissed me off. I had to pay all that money for absolutely nothing." I said, "Well, I broke those windows." And he just looks at me. He says, "Some things you just never say."